Committee, I'm sorry, what?
She's ready now.
You can start.
We're on?
Yeah, you can start. It's recording.
We can now start. Call the meeting over, the American Rescue Plan Act, ARPA Committee on today's April 3rd, 2023 at 10:05 a.m. Do I hear a motion to approve the agenda?
So move.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Move to second to approve the agenda. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All three of us said aye, so it's passed. And we have a quorum, it's 3 out of 5, right?
Yep.
Is there any public comments? Hearing none, we'll move on to discussion and reviews of the ARPA applications in front of us. Number 1 is 99 Watsika Park District. You represented?
Yes.
We have a copy of their, John, do you have a copy of it?
I got one somewhere. I don't have it with me.
There should be some. Every one of us.
Sitting or presenting, however you like.
She'll insert copies for every one of us.
Can you
got
refresh
them
our
all?
memory because we all forgot it,
Yep, no worries, I'll go get some.
except for John, he's got one.
You got one we can look it over while.
Well, let me see.
I have my copy. You want to look at my copy?
I got one.
Okay.
Sorry.
Is that a briefcase, John, or? There's a lot of stuff in there,
Big enough.
I guess.
Not big enough. I wish it was.
Too long for me to read before you start, so will you go ahead?
Okay, sure. Basically, I'm here for the Watsika Park District, and we're asking for funding for our new project. Many of you have been inside my current building, and it's very small for the activities that we do and the people that we take care of. So we actually have purchased a building already, and another building, which is at 110 South 2nd Street. So it's just a block over from us. It's the old Nichols building. And it needs a lot of rehab. And I brought pictures if you guys want to. These are the ones as to how it is now. So you guys can take a peek at those.
Too far enough.
It's like an automobile shop.
Just so you can kind of get the full spectrum of it. What happened here?
Would this be added to your location as another?
No, we would use that as a second location. So what we would do, Charlie, is move our toddler program over there, and then we want to add other programs to that building, along with what we already have. So in the very small, and I apologize for that, drawings of what the architect's done so far, the main part of that front area would be toddler program, a climbing wall, and a whole lot of amenities. Our whole goal in doing this is to be able to provide things that will work multi-generational. So we would be able to get not only our little kids in there, but our elderly. In our back part, we're going to have that set up so that it's actually for a 3-on-3 basketball. It would have pickleball. It would have four square, all that kind of stuff. So these are, and again, I apologize, they're small. I tried to make it as big as I could for you guys to see. But that would be the improvements. That's the main floor, and then that would be the upper floor. And then, just to give you an idea of what we would be looking at, so that doesn't help either. Our outer area would all look like and we would incorporate grassy areas into it. And then there's an area up above that's very small, but we wanted to make that accessible for the smaller children. So we wanted a walkway, and then they would have like a little fire escape down type thing. So that would kind of give you some examples of,
Walk for the kids.
I'll let you
That'd be
just
cool.
look through. You can see my pictures. That way you can kind of generalize and see what I'm talking about, because it's really hard to be able to.
The kids will have fun up here.
And we already have, actually, our, I'll call it my 60-plus population that have already lined up for pickleball. So the sooner we can get started, and my goal was that this was already going to be a done project, but that's not happening. So basically, I'm asking for funding to get this going. We do have funding that we've set aside, but it's not going to be enough because, as you are all aware, we have to pay prevailing wage, which just eats your budget right up. And we've got great bones with that building, but to do the things that we need to do, we're going to take extra funding for that. So that's why I'm here.
How much funding do you have now?
We have $250,000 set aside. That's not going to be enough because when you have to go with prevailing wage, and with the amount of things that are going to be done to the building, it won't. Like I have, right now, I know we're supposed to bring bids, but I don't have bids because I don't have all my stuff back from the contractor yet. But just for the flooring in the back room, we're looking at $31,000. $31,000 just for flooring, and that's only half of it in the back room. So see where I'm talking? It goes fast. I feel very vague at this point with you guys, and I apologize for that. But again, I don't have my everything from the architect yet. You know, here's how life works. I get this architect, he comes in, he's all fired up and everything, and he tells me right from the get-go his dad's not doing very well. So, okay, that's fine. His dad passes away mid-project of his drawings. So it's like, okay, and you can't fault anybody for that. I mean, that's life. So we've spent $175,000 on the building. So
Wait a minute, you spent $175,000 on the building. You mentioned you had $200,000. That's another $25 you have left over? Or?
that's what we have left over from that grouping, yes. And then we have sauntered away in hopes that this would happen someday. So I've got another 60 that's sitting there. So out of my 200, I've got 25, and then I've got 60 sitting there. So I've got $85,000, and I'm working every day to find funding sources.
So the rest of that you're looking for?
Yep.
What do you think your sources may be?
Well, we know that we can get a line of credit through one of the local banks. So that would just be money that, you know, we would have to get and pay back in increments. We know that. But if we can get money that will actually help us move forward faster, that's going to help us.
I'm not speaking for the board, but if you got an extra, say, $40,000, that'd go quite a ways, wouldn't it?
40,000?
Yeah.
Pay for a floor.
Pay for a floor or a sign. I do have a bid for a sign too.
It's what?
I said that would pay for a sign as well. Unfortunately, if we could figure out how to get past prevailing wage, we'd be in great shape, I think, for getting things done because we've got good bones. But it's prevailing wage that's everything that gets, you know, a bid.
I'm not monopolizing the discussion up here. I'm sure these guys have a few questions too.
One of the primary requirements that we've had with all the projects that we've approved is that people have two bids So I think that's one of the things we're gonna need to get.
Okay,
And probably, if you can put together some kind of a detailed financial picture of what's required and what you have would be helpful for us as well.
which I would have been a little bit more prepared to do had,
Right.
I mean, I can guess how much something's gonna cost, but I'm not an architect, so.
Well, this help us to start thinking about, but what I'm trying to say is we can't really take any action on it today. We need this additional information.
Okay, no, that's fine, and I had asked him and he said he was working on it, but he just wasn't done, so.
You've done a really good job putting all this together for us to see it too, so that helps.
We've got some great ideas there, if you really do.
I think you got some ideas set here that's pretty nice that the community, including the entire county, could use.
Oh, exactly, and our goal is to make it so it's state of the art, so people will want to come to it. That's the whole thing. I mean, it's gonna be something super nice, so people are gonna go, hey, let's go check that out,
I know in the case of pickleball, here, it's people going out of county. And I'm sure I don't know them all. They're going different directions besides the ones I know. And why not keep them back here in the county? It would do the economy good here as well as anything else we could do.
Exactly.
Is that right?
Does your plans here include some facilities for therapy for county board members?
We want a dining hall,
Speak for
you know.
yourself.
like, DuPage County got one, why not we?
Really? Oh, my goodness.
Didn't you hear about that?
No.
No.
We'll have a little kitchen though that we're planning on doing. with
We don't want the
window and
publicity.
popcorn. No, probably not. Probably not.
Well, if you'll bring us back something, anything else? Any other
I
questions?
don't
about
know,
what we
Joe,
did?
is there any additional information you think we need?
No, I think that's a good start.
I can leave those with you guys if you wanna.
Thank you. You better take your papers here, or we'll lose them for sure.
You said we could.
You
can
can
keep
keep them if you want to.
Why don't I
Put
keep
these together,
Not that Charlie would lose any.
reorganize them, we unorganize
It's
them.
okay, I'll make you guys copies too.
Got good stuff
What
there,
do you got here? All,
all that and
Everything here.
okay, and then I'll make you guys some
There's
copies too.
there's duplicates in here.
I don't need copies.
Don't pass them around, cause you guys will keep them.
Just so it's what there's duplicates there.
Jill, I
Okay, I'll
don't
take a
need
look.
copies.
Okay.
Okay, thank you, Sherry.
Thank you.
Thank you guys, I appreciate it.
Okay. Can we move on?
Yep.
Ridgeland Township. You want this back?
That's hers. That's hers.
I think they gave you a bid from Eisman Construction last time, didn't they?
Let me look. Yes, I have a bid from Eisman for 72,670.
Last time you asked for some papers that said what the lumber and stuff would be. And this is an example. And they won't give me one of these for the actual building unless I sign a contract with them. But they said it would be like this, only for our size of building. You know what I mean? Because you asked for specs on the wood.
Right, I want to know like what species and grade the wood is gonna be.
Well, this
That
is,
should be a part of their bid no matter what. I don't know why they wouldn't disclose that.
yeah. But anyway, then, this is a bid from Federal that I don't think you have. This is a copy of some of my finances that would be available to me.
Federal is all, that's gonna be all steel?
Yes.
Okay. A little different approach, good idea. I don't know, they're making stuff.
The Clary Buildings bid was 150, and this is just for the shell,
I'll make copies.
no floor, concrete floor, just the outside of the building. That was $151,271. Eisman was $101,000. And this Taylor Restoration, which is the federal steel, was $157,323. And that's also with no floor or nothing like that.
Okay. Run those numbers again, if you would, please.
Okay, Clary was $151,271. Eisman Construction was $101,277. And the Taylor Restorations, which is the federal steel, was $157,323.
What's the difference between the Clary and the Eisman bid?
The bid are 50,000.
Yeah, I know, that's what I'm trying,
I think,
what's the reason for that? That's a
think
pretty
Clary-
big. Clary is usually on the low side.
this Eisman down at System Park is usually, he's pretty cheap. I think he uses lower grade material.
Well, that was part of the reason that had brought up was trying to get all that identified as clearly as
Well,
possible.
I'm sure that he would probably be out, but they, and then,
Because I know, I mean, anybody that's bidding can use any material that they want, they all have access to it.
right,
But I know that Clary is, at least their reputation has been to be on the low side as far as price and as far as the quality of their material.
I had a bid from Morton, but he made the building a lot bigger than the other two guys, so its bid was out of whack.
Yeah,
So we're not comparing things.
okay. Well, obviously the number from Eisman looks attractive, but the question is,
Right, that's why I wanted to question his. What I've seen of these steel buildings, I would really like to get another bid from a steel company, because I think that would be the way to go. From what I've been told from my insurance company, the insurance would be a little cheaper for a steel building because it's a less fire hazard.
okay.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
So,
Thank you.
and I don't know if it's, if I would have time to solicit more bids.
We're not in that big of a rush from our end of it.
Okay, well, and my only other question is, if you look at my finances, the equipment replacement fund, I could borrow some money from that, but my equipment is 22 and 32 years old for the truck, so I hate to take any money out of that because,
Gonna need to be replacing trucks. before
Right.
too long.
I could borrow some from the road and bridge, but I could probably borrow, 75 to 100,000 from it if I pay it, which I can pay it back eventually, but then I'd have to borrow the rest from the bank, which puts me in a kind of a bind because they want 4% interest and they only guarantee the rate for 4 years. After that, it starts to fluctuate. And it would,
So how much is it you're asking for?
I was asking for 130, I think is what it was.
Yeah, 130.
And with the price of this stuff, if the prices are out of my range, my only other option is to go to a smaller building. And if I did that, I would just as soon build an office so that our township could have all their stuff in one place, because right now, the clerk and supervisor operate out of their homes to a certain extent. And then if I did that, then I'd have room for the cemetery to have all their stuff there too. So that would be an option if this stuff falls out of my expense category.
I guess one question that I would have, and I guess insurance companies can do whatever they want, but I don't see where in a pole barn, where the fire danger is that much greater, being a wood construction versus the steel, because the wood members, I don't know, they're just not likely to, I don't see how they're gonna be a fire hazard.
Well,
Your siding and your roof is all tin, so
my,
you might have, you have flammable materials inside there, that's true.
before I retired, I worked for the fertilizer plant, and their pole barn building burnt down, and there was nothing left but tin, which could happen with the steel too, because you got equipment in there that's gonna
I
burn.
guess maybe I'm ignorant on that part of it, but
I think, you got a good point.
I mean, I don't see that.
It would have to be a hot
it's
fire to get it to burn,
Yeah,
which,
it's not that it's impossible, but pretty rare.
well, you're right. But this stuff doesn't include any concrete floor, no electrical, no heat. So I would probably have to borrow a pretty good sum of money to finish it. And then, like I said, I would probably have to start making the building smaller.
You said that Eisman did not want to disclose to you what the
Well,
materials were gonna be?
I think he would have if I asked him, but I know him, and I know that they use the pine wood and the purlins and stuff like that.
I just, to me, I'm comparing Clary and Eisman, I think they're, if we were gonna consider that route, we probably should try and get a better understanding of it.
I can
Why
do
the
that.
prices are so far apart.
I can
I
do
think
that.
Iceland would give you that. I happen to know him. He lives in a house that I grew up in.
But, I can find out from him and,
I mean, maybe that would be a good thing to do, and then if you wanna see about getting another price for a steel building as well,
Yeah.
then maybe next month we could kinda wrap things up for you.
okay, that would be fine. The only other thing is these prices are 30 days plus, well, most of them, I steer last month, so they're probably close to 60 days old.
I understand.
They may like a chance to revise their bids, which,
Bring the pricing up to date
yeah,
now.
right,
But I
We want a
mean,
price that we can
right.
hopefully go to. a
And I
settlement.
understand that, because I knew that going in, that.
I think that's a risk that you have to take in order to try and arrive at the best decision as well.
Right.
So
So
It's
I can do all
unfortunate.
that.
it's the name of the game today.
Well, I
Joe,
understand
can we
that.
put them on a
That
retainer till next month?
that would be fine with me.
Okay,
So,
Right.
John, you want another quote for a steel building, and what was the other thing you requested?
well, he's wanting to do that, so I think that's,
I'd like the other quote from the steel building and then get with Eisman and see what kind of lumber he's using,
Okay.
because his prices is lower than.
Do you think prevailing wages was considered with Eisman?
Yes.
He did do prevailing?
Yeah.
That's a lot of money in materials out there.
Well,
it wouldn't hurt to maybe get together with Clary and make sure what materials they're gonna use as well, in order to be able to compare apples and apples.
okay, well, he gave me this and he said it would be,
Okay.
building will be designed, to specs, the Iroquois County Code, State of Illinois Code, and Commercial Building Code.
Okay.
So they can't, and he just gave me this as a reference. Obviously, it's not my building, but he said I would get one of these when we sign a contract or whatever.
The thing is that you can use southern yellow pine for your columns, for example, and you can use cheaper
Right.
grades of
I
pine and still meet the
understand that.
building code, so.
I understand that. So I will get this information for next month.
Thank you.
And,
Very good.
all right, thank you.
Joe, can we move on to Prairie Dell Church?
Yeah.
Is somebody here to represent the church?
I'm here. I'm Janice Lubin, and I live right across from the Prairie Dell Church, and I'm sure being a historical society that Helen Crow worked so hard on getting approved, we've repaired the windows, and they are wavy, and it's historically repaired. We've had a new roof put on. We've shored up the boulders for the foundation. In the process, we are putting up, replacing the tin ceiling. Our biggest problem, it seems like, is keeping the darn raccoons out of that building. They find a way to get in. They get into the ceiling, they have their babies, then the ceiling rots, and then they leave, and when the babies are ready to have babies, they come back. So we've done a lot of things to try to keep those raccoons out. But what I'm asking,
Work.
pardon me?
Shotguns work.
Stop it. We live across from the cemetery and from the church, and the man that lived in that house used to sit in the old green metal chairs with his shotgun.
Yep.
Sorry, babies are hit on the road, and that's terrible too, so we have to protect this national historical site. We have lots of visitors. We had a cemetery walk and an open house for the church. And there's a lot of interest. We've had lots of donations that kept us going, but we need some help. I have 2 bids. Do you have those in front of you?
Can I see that?
Thank you for copying the one I just got. One from Meisters, that is from $6,200 to $6,800 to repair the steeple. The steeple is getting pretty flimsy and we don't want it to fall through the roof. And then the second one is from John Ferris, and he is estimating it to be $8,100 to repair the steeple. So we're pleading and asking for help.
How much was it you're asking for?
Somewhere between $6,200 and
$6,000?
$8,100. Those are our 2 bids.
Okay, you had 6,800 down here on the application.
That's from Meisters.
That was the, Meister's original bid was 62 to 68.
Oh,
So they
okay.
put 68 as the high, and then we requested them get a second bid, which is this piece that I just gave you, Charlie.
Okay.
From John Ferris,
And his was
You have any questions?
$8,100.
higher, it was 68, so.
I guess one of the questions that came up at the last meeting had to do with as far as the policies of this board and awarding the monies and so forth. And I think we had some other applications from some other churches in the county, and we had felt like that maybe we weren't gonna pursue that direction. However, we're also looking at something a little bit different here, as you pointed out, being a historical building, so that's giving us a little pause for thought as to how we want to approach all this. And I hope you understand that aspect of it as well. I guess one question that I would have is that, and this applies to all of these historical buildings, we have others in the county. Are we under some obligation to maintain these buildings for the next 500 years or 1,000 years or some period of
Won't be
time?
our problem, I guess.
I mean, at what point do we suddenly realize that maybe it's not worth it anymore, or whatever? Does that play into any of this?
I would not think so.
Okay, so in other words, you're saying that we have an obligation to maintain these properties forever?
No, I don't think you would take that responsibility, no.
Well, we
Well,
won't be here forever.
I mean, I think as we look at these buildings and the usefulness of them, I don't know that there's any question that from a historical standpoint, that provides benefit to a lot of people.
That it does not.
There's other people that it doesn't provide any benefit to, and that has to be taken into account, but,
We do have an open house, and we've had ice cream socials, and we've had pie bakers come in and we auction off pies. And we've made some good money. We have been self-sustaining. It's just, where do people stop, saying, I can't afford to give donations? Our cemetery walk that we had, the restoration fund got $1,000 from people that were there by just passing a hat around. So we have the cemetery to help us with this because it is a very active cemetery. We have between 13 and, well, compared to some cemeteries, we have between 13 and 16 people buried every year. And so, of course, they see the church, they want to donate, so that's helpful too.
I guess my point is I'm not necessarily saying I'm in favor or against. I'm just asking the question as to what our obligations are as far as maintaining these properties that are on the historical register or have that status.
I guess I'm just asking for a new
I'm not
steeple.
sure that you know either, but to me, at some point in time, it's something that we need to be looking at.
I don't think it's anybody's obligation, it's a want to, because it's something from the old days.
John, do you have a question?
Well, I just wanted to support Janice's proposal because the county has already established a precedence for maintaining the old courthouse.
Right.
So our vision of preserving the history in Iroquois County is already well established. This is a little jewel over in Concord Township. And as we know, the eastern part of the county has got a lot older, back in 1833. And I mean, we're just lucky to have Janice and John to help support this project. And just in this last year, we've lost the Clark School in Concord Township, and we've lost the depot in Effner that was well over 100 years old. And this project has been preserved quite a bit, but we just need a little help. And lastly, this church is not supported by, it's non-denominational. So it doesn't really get any tax dollars, and it's not supported by any church district like the Methodists or the Presbyterians or anything like that. So it's an independent situation there. And I really think that we gotta support this. It's just a beautiful little church.
I'm not disagreeing with your point of view, John. My question was somewhat hypothetical perhaps, but at what point going out into the future, what's our obligations and so forth? Because I think maybe this is a time that we try to recognize some of that.
That's a good question.
So that's the only reason I brought it up. Obviously there's a need to repair the building. It's a question of, do we want to utilize this money for it or try and find some other way?
Do we have everything that we need for her application to be able to vote on this?
Yeah, she provided the 2 bids, it's up to you if you want to.
Well, we're considering what the church does, or the location, whatever you want to call it, does for the public today. I don't think we can read the future like you said you couldn't either. And I think that's what we have to go by, is what we have today.
We try to have open houses every year.
Well, then I move to make a motion to have a resolution for how much is it you're asking? 68.
Well,
62 to 68, wasn't it?
yes, that's our lowest bid, 62 to 68.
$6,200 then to move towards the county. Or see how I'm supposed to say it.
That would sustain you for the present, or would you?
That would get the new steeple.
That's what they're asking for is steeple.
What do you think, John? It's not worried about the future so much.
No,
The church is pretty well taken care of.
a misunderstanding. I just
No,
think it's something at some point in time we need to,
Well, this isn't the time.
okay. Excuse me then, I apologize.
I like what John said as far as existence today, and that's what we think we should go on. Is that all right, John?
Yep, I'll second the motion.
Thank you, John.
Moved in second to authorize the the Prairie Dale Church $6,200 to restore their facilities.
The steeple repair.
Is that okay?
That sounds fine, that's perfect.
All in favor signify by saying
We
aye.
need to call roll.
Oh,
Alt,
yes,
awful,
Yes,
sure.
Yes,
motion carried. Thank you.
Thank you very much, I appreciate it.
We should have that money, what, after Tuesday?
It'll be, after the board meeting, I have to sign resolutions for that, yep.
Has to be
So we'll be in
brought up and
contact
voted
after
on the
next
board on
Tuesday for those.
So the check will be in the mail, right?
Well, I'll contact you, because you have to actually come in and get it, because I'll have to have you sign for it.
Perfect.
Yep,
Thank you.
you're welcome.
Can we move on to Boyle's Construction and Drainage? What was that, were they asked to come back, or is this,
I don't see anybody else here. There is one more person.
oh, Z Rapids?
There's one more person here, but I don't know if that's them.
You have them? I don't know what we're doing with them.
I'm getting out of order
It's
here.
43, shouldn't be too deep in your pocket. What are you looking at me for?
I don't know.
Somebody brought
Charlie.
their stuff.
See, the application is bigger dollar wise, as far as it goes along.
Sorry.
No, Boyles is not here, Charlie.
What?
Boyles is not here.
Out here?
They
Table
were-
it till the next meeting.
They were contacted, but I didn't get
Yeah,
back.
refer to the next meeting.
Next meeting.
We'll go on. Number 46, designer homes by Gold Quest Construction.
Not here.
Have they been notified they were
Yes,
here today?
emails were sent to
Both
everybody.
last, okay. I don't know, what do we do? Just ask them to come next meeting again, or
I'll send another email.
when are we
I think we're
gonna?
looking, Charlie, if they didn't come today and they didn't respond, we're looking at moving on and doing another 6 of the small businesses.
Oh, yes, we were.
So since they didn't respond to Amanda and they didn't come in, I think next meeting we're looking at a different 6.
Did Boyles contact you?
No.
So there's 2 of them.
We just wanted to give them opportunity to come in, and since they didn't respond or come in, we're gonna move ahead with the next 6,
Okay,
okay?
moving on to number 48, Schaumburg Fine Trim. Sounds like it might be another one. Is it?
No, they didn't contact me, they're not here.
Another one off the list.
Moving on, then. Hazard pay to Iroquois County employees.
That's just on the agenda until a decision is made. So it's not anything to discuss today unless you want to discuss it.
And just to let the committee know that Jeff Burke and Dave Hibben both reached out over the weekend and they were looking at the 18th. So I'm just waiting on a response about the 18th being the next date that they can meet for finishing up the corrections contract and the 911's contract.
Yeah, I think we need a full board here anyway for our discussion on this. There's 2
So
of
the
us
last time we
missing.
talked, yeah, the next person's on the agenda, so you're gonna keep what, Sika Park District?
Yeah.
Ridgeland Township, and then it's gonna be application 49, Affordable Arts. Application 64, Feed in Time Foods,
Okay.
and those are the last 2 of the small businesses, and then if there's any applications that you would like to put on there. We have 4 for next meeting as now.
basically, we can just move on today.
This is mine,
What?
this is mine, right?
We're just making a decision on who we'd like on for next month's agenda.
Oh, yeah,
Trying to-
Oh, for these new ones you gave us, you mean?
I gave you a pile of new ones, yes.
the only other thing I have is a letter from the Assistant Park, American Legion Post 527, thanking us for the money they received from their application. And I know they're already under improvement work that they promised in spending those funds. Signed by, it must be about 100 to 125 members or that were at their last meeting. You got anything else, Jill?
I'm sorry, we had one other business and I forgot about that one because it's a new one. It's application 125, Watsika Ford.
It doesn't say how much you're asking.
So, well, yeah, we can invite them in. I'm just saying, you wanted to review the businesses.
Yeah.
So that would be application 49, 64, 125.
All right.
And then we still have Watsika Park District and Bridgeland. So that's 5 for next month. If you want to add on a 6th one.
What about these 124, 126 that you gave us?
That's up to you. That's what I'm asking. Would you like to add those on for next
We
month?
used to have one more. We're gonna spin our wheels and not getting anywhere if we don't continue on with more applications as we go. Finish this up. Right?
If you're looking at doing one of the newer ones, you have 123, 124, 126.
What are the older ones that really we should try to work with? What do you suggest, Jill?
I would take a look at 56. This is a daycare for loss of revenue. I'm not sure, without taking a look at it, if it's an in-home one or if it's a licensed daycare. I'm not sure, but I mean, if you're looking at businesses, it would be one to look at. But again, the decision is up to the committee. That would just be a recommendation.
Doug, you look like you have something on your mind. Can we hear
Yeah,
it?
I mean, if you get the park district money to compete against this business, I mean, I'm just lost. Because that's what takes place. The park district provides daycare for little kids. They're a taxing body. And then you're gonna give these people money so they can compete against the park district.
Well, there's not enough positions available in one daycare center
There isn't, but
to allow for people to utilize just one center.
it's not a level playing field when the government gets involved, is all I'm saying. But it is
It's
what it
not,
is.
but it's, I'm just saying, if you've got.
Well, it's not gonna hurt anything to look at the application.
For next one, for small business.
It's just to look at the application and go
Well, I'm not
up.
saying it's wrong,
Yeah.
but I'm
I see your
saying that
point.
there's, yeah, if you want to support small businesses, that's fine.
You know, you could build many ways to say this area is less than another area. By this whole thing's structured, come to us first with very tight perimeters of COVID related. And less than a month later, the word COVID was thrown out like about everything else. And I mean, to make a distinction whether we should go local business or taxed, and taxed already working for the public, it's impossible to draw a line, so I see it. I agree with you, but I understand your interest.
Let you open
And
the
I
door.
appreciate it very much, but it's a ball of wax. Does that make sense? No.
Go ahead and put it on for next month.
Is there anything else that's brought up before the committee today?
Okay, so just to review, you have Watsika Park District, Ridgeland, application 49, application 56, application 64, and application 125 for next month.
Thank you. Any other old or new business?
New business.
New business?
Just to make you aware, the taxing committee was approached about digitalizing all their tax information. Right now, the tax records are all on cards in the room next door. So if there's some catastrophe happened, and instead of that tree getting hit by lightning at this building did, we'd lose our information. Also, then it's hard to verify tax
Liabilities?
well, what is a home evaluation worth when it's on a paper card here in this office? Or
Yeah.
maybe the assessor has a copy maybe at his place. Are they the same? We don't know. So the point is the tax committee is looking at what it would cost to digitalize that system. We don't have costs today, but we're trying to see if the committee and then the county board wants to pursue that to come up with a cost and implementation and this and that. So that's just something, we can't bring that to it, but I would say that the tax committee has no place to go for funds to do this if they don't go to the county board to ask for it, or the taxpayers to pay for it.
They
So,
could make application to this organization.
well, if we save room to consider it, it's too early in the game, but I'm saying that
Well, you have to keep in mind too, the funds need to be spent by 2026, so
Right.
I would suggest that the tax committee and the ARPA committee or the county board work really closely with the tax office, specifically since they're gonna have a new department head in there, to try to make sure that happens, because if they're not spent by 2026, it cannot be covered by ARPA funds.
right. I think that's possible. That deadline isn't a big deal, but we need to find out if the board is interested in pursuing the
Right.
utilization.
I've always thought a little bit about this money that we're handing out here. Is it taxable or is it not? Depending on where it goes.
Yeah, I don't know either about that, yeah.
See what I mean? You know?
Doesn't specifically state anything in the final rules that I read, but it's been a minute since I've read those.
The other thing is I go back to our employees that were frontline battle employees that didn't work from home, that didn't hide behind a desk or a locked door when this COVID went through. And I just think that we should do something about the people that still work with us today, that work through those knock on the doors, and they don't know who's gonna answer the door. Or when they stop a car, they don't know who's in the car, that we just gotta do something to say that they're important to us. And that's just gotta get addressed here one of these times, and not keep kicking the football down the road, waiting for somebody to come in with more needs than what our employees have. So I ask you to consider.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for your input. Anything else to be brought up today? Hearing none, do I hear a motion to adjourn?
So move.
Second.
Moved and second to adjourn, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned at 6 minutes till 11.
11.
Thank you.